Hey y'all, I'm gonna do my best to do another video. It's Saturday, and I've been having a lot of trouble with my oxygen the last few days. I think it's the new medication I'm on. But anyway, so bear with me. Uh, I want to talk today about when I met the love of my life and when we got married. And so here goes. Uh, I worked at several different cafes in the little town of Wheeler, and one of them, the first one I worked at, I started out doing dishes, and then they got confidence enough in me that I could help with the cooking and waiting. And one day, two gentlemen came in, and they were on their way to their school in Oklahoma City, and they were starting Votech. They had graduated from high school, and this was in '69. And so I waited on them and kind of visited with them a little bit, and really had a good time talking to them. And never really thought too much about it that day. But then they also had a friend that was also going with them, who was dating my very best friend. And so he was not there that day, but later on she wanted to go down and see him at Oklahoma City, and the only way she could go was if she had somebody go with her. And so I was still pretty young. At that time, I was still in, let's see, I was a junior, and she was too. She was in my class. And so she invited me to go down there, and of course, her mother would have to go to accompany us, and I would have to get permission from my mom also, since we would be staying overnight and coming back the next day. And she wanted to set me up a date with one of the other gentlemen that was also going down there, and at that school. And she said it would be one of the two that had come in and got them a Coke or tea that day, and asked me which one. And I told her, I said I didn't remember which was which. And so she said, well, I'll just set it up. And so anyway, she was going to set me up with the other gentleman. And to show you how God works, that all fell through. And so when February of 1970 rolled around, we had a sweetheart banquet there at the school, and I had invited a gentleman to escort me, and the banquet was in Pampa, Texas. And so we were all going together, a group of us, including my friend and her boyfriend. And so and it was on Saturday night. Well, on Friday night, we were setting up town, my friend and I, and my sister. My mother and my other sister had gone to South Texas to visit my grandma, and so I was staying the weekend with my friend. And so while we were sitting there on Main Street in Wheeler, her boyfriend came and with his friend, and of course my friend went and got in the car with her boyfriend, and this gentleman came and sat in the car with us, my sister and I. And I was busy fixing a wiglet to wear on Saturday night for going to the sweetheart banquet. And so anyway, we sat there and we talked, and this was Weldon. And so anyway, we sat there and we talked and talked and talked for long hours while my friend and her boyfriend were cruising the streets and what have you. And so when they came back and it was time for them to go home, I really enjoyed myself visiting with Weldon, and it just all clicked for me. And so anyway, whenever he left out, I told, and my friend got in the car and we got ready to go to her house. I told her, I said, I'm going to marry him. I said, he's going to be my husband. And she just couldn't believe I said that. And neither did my sister. So anyway, so we went to her house, and the next day we got all ready and went to the sweetheart banquet and everything, and ate at the place where the banquet was at. And then afterwards, all of them was going to the picture show there in Pampa. And the gentleman that had escorted me, he wanted to get back to Wheeler to be with his girlfriend, and I didn't want to go to the picture show either. And I just happened to have the phone number that my friend had gave me where she was going to be. And so I called that phone number, and come to find out years later, well, not years later, but anyway, I put it all together after I got married, that this was Weldon's sister, Zeta, that they was at it. Come to find out, the gentleman that my friend was dating, was related to Weldon through marriage. And so anyway, they was there because they didn't go to the banquet. They ended up just going there and visiting. And so they come and picked us up at the picture show, and we went back to Wheeler. Well, on the way of leaving Pampa, we went across the railroad tracks, and we met my friend's boyfriend's brother. And they honked and waved and all this and everything. We waved and kept on going, not realizing they were trying to stop us. And come to find out, Weldon was in the car, and he was wanting me to get in the car with them and be with him. But we didn't know this. We didn't have cell phones back then. It's just, you just, whatever happened. And so we went back to Wheeler, and the brother that Weldon was with was up there seeing his girlfriend who lived in Pampa. So Weldon had to wait until he got back to Wheeler. And so after we got back to Wheeler, well, my friend and her boyfriend went to the picture show, and I sat outside in the car because I didn't want to go to the picture show. And anyway, so I sat there, and a few friends, if I remember right, came by and took me for a ride. And then a little while later, well, Weldon and brother showed back up in Wheeler, and so I went and got in the car with them, and we rode around and visited and everything. And by then I had such a crush on Weldon and everything, and liked him so much that I couldn't hardly talk. And those of you who's experienced love know what it's like to, when you first meet them and everything, you can't hardly talk, and you get tongue twisted, and your heart races and all that stuff. And so anyway, I talked more to the brother than I did to Weldon, and he about decided that I didn't care for him, that I liked the brother better. So, and I had dated that brother. But anyway, and so whenever they took me to my friend's house and let me out, well, silly me, when I got out, I just hopped out of the car and took off to the door and didn't even give Weldon much of a chance. And right now I can't remember if he come followed me up there and gave me a kiss or not. I think they just left. But anyway, it was kind of strange. I'm surprised we're together the way that all went down. But anyway, so this was around Valentine's, of course. And so my friend had the address of where they was living down there and going to school. And so I got a Valentine's card, and I filled it out and sent it to Weldon to let him know, I guess to kind of reassure him that I really did care. And so I mailed that to him, and lo and behold, he sent me a Valentine's card and basically wrote the exact same thing back to me. He's not one for words and knowing how to do all that romantic stuff. And so anyway, that started it all. And then whenever they would come in, we'd go on a date. He came and he visited with Mama and everything. Mama really did like him. And and then one time we went to the Escapades, and in the course of our dates, and in Amarillo, and we were sitting there, and all these people went to talking about it snowing outside, and we was like, no, because it was summertime. We had on short sleeves when we went up there, and it was hot. And finally we got curious, and one of us went and checked it out. Sure enough, there's a blizzard going on outside. So we all loaded up. To heck with them Escapades, loaded up in that car. We was headed home. And boy, how do you talk about a trip trying to get home? We got in the dangest blizzard I have ever been in my life. But I'm going to save that for another story, because I don't want to talk about storms and stuff like that on another video. But anyway, so went our dating and everything, and we met in February, and we were engaged in May and married the 1st of August. And of course, all Wheeler thought that I was pregnant and I was having to get married because it was such a short courtship. But that first child didn't come until 1973. So shame on them for thinking bad things about people, Christian people. And but that's all right. And anyway, so I was still a junior in high school, and so whenever we went to planning our wedding, and when we got engaged, he had to talk to Mama because I still had a year of school to go. And so anyway, he had to promise Mother that I would finish school and graduate. And he said he would see to it that I went to school every day and that I graduated. And I did. And of course, back then, things were a lot stricter than they are today. And when I started school, they informed me that should I get pregnant, that I would have to quit school and stuff like that. And I was not allowed to be a part of any of the activities, like when they had the junior senior prom. I got to go up there and have my picture taken, but that was it. I had to leave. And I was, of course, definitely not allowed to be on the senior trip. So things are a lot different today. I mean, it's no big deal, seems like, anymore. But we were treated a lot different back then. And but anyway, so I thank God every day that I got Weldon in my life. I know God was a part of it because of the way it all went down. and he's a big blessing to me. He takes really good care of me, and I know he loves me. Of course, I know that marriages are not perfect, you guys. There's always up and downs, and it's hard work. And we've been together for 50 years, and it's been a struggle. But you get through it if you really want to have a good Christian marriage and you really love your partner. So it's something you have to work at. But anyway, so my wedding day was really nice. Come to find out later, there was a couple of other people got married the same day we did, and um, I remember we had to drive to Pampa to get the cake, and I had to hang on to that cake because it was tiered coming back from Pampa, make sure we didn't lose any of it and it fall apart. And anyway, got that up there, and I had saved all my tips, and then Weldon had I think had a bunch of coins and stuff too, and I had a great big old A&W root beer cone thing that like those things you see the cheerleaders use, that's narrow at the top and wide at the bottom, and that's what we used to drink root beer out of. And I had one of those, and that's what I had kept all of my coins in, and tip money, and from working at the cafe. And the day of the wedding, I went up there to the grocery store and cashed all that in for our honeymoon, and then I seen Weldon across the street, and he was going to get a haircut, from my understanding, and his mom had always done his hair, but I guess he was getting a barbershop haircut that day. So anyway, got all ready and went up to the church, and the gentleman that was supposed to come and do our pictures never showed up. And so, come to find out, even though we had asked him to come and do my wedding, I guess he didn't take us serious or something. He's the gentleman that does the paper at Wheeler. And anyway, he didn't come. He went to another wedding and did those people's pictures. And so my aunt and my sister-in-law, they had to use what they had, and went to the grocery store and tried to buy film and stuff so they could take pictures of the wedding. And that was kind of sad that went down that way, but it's okay. I have a few pictures of my wedding, and I think all I have are black and white. There was some colored ones, but a lot of the stuff that from all of that I lost when our house burnt, and that's another story. And so anyway, we had our wedding, and we had our wedding reception and everything, and Weldon had put the car over at his brother's house there at Briscoe, and supposedly to be kept safe, and they pranked us really bad. They put syrup or honey or something on there, and put black pepper in where that when we turned the air conditioner on, black pepper blew in our face. And anyway, so they took us there. We got in the car, and we drove to let's see, our first stop, we stopped at, I don't think it was Woodward. It might have been Woodward. And kind of washed the car up a little bit. Went to the Sonic, got us something to eat because all we'd had was cake and punch from the wedding, and got us a little something to eat, and then we went to Oklahoma City and got us a motel, and we called. Weldon called his friends that was down there, and they came to see us at the motel and everything. We had a visit and everything, and so it's kind of funny. When Weldon was going to school, he quit. He quit because his grades, he wasn't keeping his grades up, but he told his mama that he was afraid that I would hook up with another guy. So he got out of school. Going to school. So anyway, and then one time I was told after we got married that his mama got all upset because he was coming in the middle of the night and early morning hours, and she thought he was with me all that time, and she informed him that if he was gonna hang out with that girl. I think she called me something else until the wee morning hours that he needed to marry me, and so she didn't realize that when he dropped me off, I had a curfew. I had to go home, and anyway, when he dropped me off, he'd go downtown, and all the guys would sit down on Main Street with this cop they called Dudley Do-Right, and they'd all drink and stuff and everything, and he visited with them, kept an eye on them and everything, made sure everybody's okay and there's no fights and stuff, and then when he got ready to go home, he'd go home. She hated that beer. She fought that beer. My goodness. She just, she, bless her heart. I miss that sweet, precious lady. She's a good Christian woman, and she did not like her kids smoking or drinking, and I don't blame her. I don't blame her a bit. So anyway, so that was a fun part of our life. And then right after we got married and we come back to Wheeler, we didn't have a place to live, and so there was a little motel there, and we stayed in this one room for about a week, and then a kitchenette became available, and we moved over into it. And Weldon got him a job working for a gas station there, and there was a little house next door to that gas station that had one door, the front door, and no back door of any kind, and it had one bedroom and a little kitchen, one bathroom, a small living room, and then kind of an enclosed, I would call it a back porch room or something, but anyway, we kept a little bed, full bed, seems like a cot or something back there in case somebody came and spent the night. But when he got that gas station job, the owner owned that house, and so we moved into that house. That was our first house right there in Wheeler, and so anyway, I just wanted to share how we all how Weldon and I got together with y'all and everything, and I know God had a hand in it. God has had a hand in my life, my whole entire life. He has. It's so vivid And even through the fire, he was there and took care of us. And like I said, that'll be another story. But anyway, I couldn't have asked for a better husband. 50 years of putting up with me. uh, yeah, it's been a good one. But anyway, I love him dearly, and I know he loves me. So anyway, I'm gonna back off, and this is gonna be kind of short today. And I probably forgot something I had thought of earlier. I guess I ought to start taking notes, and then that way I can keep up with what I want to say. But anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. I hope y'all are having a good Saturday. Yeah. I feel so terrible about all those fires up there in Colorado. I read a while ago where they've already found 2 people dead in a basement trying to seek shelter. And the bad thing is that probably was started by a human. And now all this destruction and stuff is terrible. But anyway, I love you guys, and y'all have a blessed weekend. And I'm gonna back on off, and sorry, I won't be doing videos every day, but I will do them as often as I feel well enough to do them. So y'all have a good one. Love y'all. Bye bye.